What you doing, rabbit? Chilling? Hey, rabbit. What are you doing? So I wanted to get down here and get more shots of flowers and bees working the flowers today, but again, I just didn't have the time. But I did want to get a quick shot of all the various flowers that are here. These are all wild and they're beautiful and they smell wonderful, and I just wanted to share them. These purple and white ones over here, the tall ones, are called phlox. These are wild phlox, and they're one of my favorite flowers as far as wildflowers go because they smell wonderful and they bloom this time of year, the end of May, early June, when summer really starts to hit. And so I have a real love for them because of that. I will try and get a couple more quick clips before I go on to other chores. That right there is an elderberry bush that will be opening up the flower soon. These are two more right here. I have to do some trimming and get the grapevines off them, the wild grapes. And then we'll just step in here quick with the phlox and the wild blackberries. These wild blackberries are absolutely gorgeous and loaded with flowers this year. I don't think I remember ever seeing this many flowers on these blackberries, so I expect we'll have a bumper crop this year if we get some rains to help fill berries. We were talking about these on the Spaces Between last weekend, blackberry and a lot of its medicinal benefits. If you haven't heard that show, go back and check it out. It would be the May, somewhere around, I'll throw a link down below. I think it was the May 22nd edition, Friday and Saturday night. I was a guest on the Spaces Between, and we talked about medicinal plants, or I talked about the medicinal side of plants, and Paisley talked about the more spiritual side of plants. So it was an interesting show. If you missed it, it's well worth checking out. But I just wanted to share these beautiful flowers and the birds chirping and the green coming on. This time of year is so wonderful. I suppose briefly from a pollinator perspective, I'll just show all these little small flowers that we humans don't necessarily notice as we're strolling around, but the bees sure do come into these, and they sure do work all these flowers. This wild clover, and then this ground cover, I forget what this is called, might be Creeping Charlie, I think. There's some buttercup in here. The thing I really, oh, and here's Yarrow coming up. We talked about that on Paisley's show last week too. This is a wonderful plant in so many ways. And this here is St. John's wort. We didn't get to that one, but that's another wonderful medicinal plant. This turns into a big bush and gets these beautiful yellow flowers on it later in the season. But what caught my attention was these phlox. I just wanted to show how beautiful these are. That pinkish purplish color, and then this is the more whitish version. They both have those pinkish purplish hues in them now. You can hear a bird on the other side of the bush chirping away. And then these are black cap canes here. These are basically a wild raspberry, and these are one of my favorite wild berries, even over and above the wild blackberries. These black caps are super sweet and they come out earlier than the blackberries. These come out in another couple of weeks, basically middle to end of June into early July, and those blackberries don't come out until more like end of July, early August, even late August, depending on the season. And there's another elderberry right here that will be flowering. And this other bush here is a wild multiflora rose. This is quite an invasive species of bush as far as taking over terrain, but it's excellent at soil building, and it provides some excellent medicinal properties as well. The essential oil of the flower is extremely small amounts as far as ratio. It takes like pounds and pounds and pounds to get like a fraction of an ounce of essential oil from it, but it's a very powerful healing tool as well. And then later in the season, these produce something called rose hips, which are very high in vitamin C, and they're an excellent natural resource as well. Oh, and right next to that, this is a mulberry tree here. This isn't quite so far along as to be putting flowers out yet, but you can see some flower buds starting right there. And mulberry, if you don't know, is another excellent medicinal tree. That's another one we didn't get to. Nature's just so full of diversity and beauty and health and vitality. And that bird in the distance is called a mourning dove. I love the mourning dove, that melancholy sound. This flower here I think is called chicory. Might be wrong on that. No, I got that mixed up. This is chickweed, not chicory. Chickweed. I forget what this is good for, but it's good for something. And I just wanted to show all these beautiful clover. We get the red and the white clover both in here. And then of course there's the phlox all along the edges of where the new tractor roadway is going. And then I'll show you these other phlox that are my favorite of all the phlox colors. These are my favorites. I think you can probably see why. That color is just amazing. And the smell is this sweet, delicate floral smell that's just wonderful as well. I wish this camera had smell-o-vision, because I'd share it with you. You'd be as addicted as I am to these beautiful flowers. And these are in the canopy of a beautiful pear tree that I've put through some foliar feed programs and managed to keep alive and healthy. The only problem with this pear tree is that the squirrels come in and steal all my pears every year. So I may have to, oh, that's a pileated woodpecker in the distance there. May have to clear some more of these trees out in here to make a little more space so Mr. Squirrel can't just jump over so easily. Anyway, I just wanted to share some of this natural beauty out here. I hope you found this interesting or informative in some way. Thanks for watching the Pharmacy Seeds Network.